Nitrogen is a colorless, odorless gas used to inflate tires of racing cars and heavy vehicles. But for us normal blokes, should we pay 5 ringgit per tire for nitrogen gas? Driven puts it to the test to find out how much fuel you can save and how much performance advantage you can expect. The air that we breathe, which is commonly used to inflate tires, contain up to 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% of other gases. Now the problem with this 21% oxygen is that with oxygen there's oxidation, and oxidation isn't good for your tires. They increase wear and tear. Now the theory is by inflating your tires with up to 95% nitrogen, you actually minimize oxidation and decrease wear and tear on your tires, meaning you save money. And when you save money, you can do things such as this. Nitrogen is produced by separating nitrogen and oxygen from the air we breathe. This lean green machine will do all the work for you. Plus, it's found in almost any tire shop in Malaysia.
Since Harv has filled his tires with 34 psi of nitrogen gas, looks like I've got to do the same, but this time mine is with air. 34 psi would be standard for this tire size. Plus, we'll be doing this test with identical cars of the same engine and fuel capacity. 34 psi.
With 5 ringgit a tire, you'll get your tires deflated and reinflated with nitrogen. Now we're all ready to run our test. Let's see whether it's worth it or not.
Since nitrogen gas is supposed to keep your tires inflated longer, in theory, it should definitely give you better mileage. For our fuel consumption test, we'll fill up both tanks to the brim, do a medium distance drive, and we'll see who has the emptier tank at the end of our journey. Here we go! You know, doing a test like this can be very difficult, so Harv and I decided to take a couple of criteria into consideration to reduce the variables into getting the best results after the test is over. So, first of all, first criteria, we're going to change gears between 2,500 to 3,000 RPM, try to get to top gear as quick as we can, and to reach 100 kilometers an hour as fast as we can. Second of all, we're going to try and maintain a distance between 1 to 2 car lengths so that we get the same speed when we go. Third of all, being in Malaysia, we all know that it's hot, it's always humid, and it's not so good for the VO, right? So we're going to do it in nice Malaysian style, air conditioning all the way. And we all know that driving in an air conditioning car does increase your fuel consumption. Best part of it all, I am in a Civic Type R, and check it out, I am going only 100 kilometers an hour.
Nitrogen is also supposed to keep your tire temperature constant, but maybe we didn't ride the cars hard enough.
So, what do you get?
46, you?
Same.
It's the same?
Yeah.
No difference at all. That's good.
Yeah. One theory out the window. Next, to determine fuel consumption, we refill the cars to the brim once more and we'll measure the difference between nitrogen and air over a distance of 110 kilometers. Not bad, 8.115 liters. What's yours?
7.8. 300 ml? That's less than a can of soda.
Disappointing. Maybe we should have driven harder and gone further.
Maybe we should. Now, the second round of the test, the performance test. First up, nitrogen tires. Racing teams prefer nitrogen gas because it contains no moisture, resulting in constant tire pressure and quicker lap times.
Since we need to use the same driver to reduce the variables, Harv has kindly offered to be the solo driver and take both cars out for 3 hot laps each, and the times are averaged to give as accurate a reading as possible.
Now let's take out the air-inflated tires and see if there's a difference with performance. It is also said that with nitrogen, you can improve handling. But to be honest, I can't feel any difference. However, nitrogen molecules are larger than oxygens, so they tend to stay in your tire for a much longer time. With conventional air, you lose up to 1.5 psi in a month. But with nitrogen, on the other hand, you only lose the same amount in 6 months.
Well, it looks like on average, the nitrogen-inflated tyres crosses the finish line at 0.8 of a second faster. In a real race, that could mean the difference between a podium finish and losing the race. So Harv, on nitrogen gas, no difference whatsoever in fuel consumption, but
Slightly better performance on track,
slightly less wear and tear in your tyres.
and you make less refills.
So conclusion, 20 ringgit, is it worth it?
Well, I think it's up to you to decide. Nitrogen may save you wear and tear, but in the end, you'll still have to pay for new tyres eventually. All in all, filling up with nitrogen gas, the 20 ringgit you spend doesn't merit the fuel-saving costs.
It's a tough time for petrol during these turbulent times. Rising costs have galvanized automakers to design and cater for fossil fuel that costs less and produces less carbon dioxide than petrol. Quite suddenly, diesel has become a worthy option when designing engines for the modern automobile. In 1898, Rudolf Diesel was granted patent 608845 for an internal combustion engine, the diesel engine, and it was built to be more efficient than one that ran on petrol. I know what you're thinking when I say diesel, smoke and noise. Nevertheless, auto companies have invested in much research and development to overcome these problems. Turbocharging helps improve overall power with high amounts of torque, while common rail direct injection systems give greater control when fuel is added. This helps to reduce the noise. Newer catalytic converters help neutralize the nitrogen oxide, while particulate filters trap soot, resulting in cleaner engines. However, diesels still have a higher particulate and nitrogen oxide output compared to petrol engines, despite lower carbon dioxide output. Major auto companies now offer diesel options with their cars. As a comparison, let's look at the BMW 320i and 320d. Both feature 2.0-litre engines, but the i is fueled by petrol, while the d uses diesel. Across the board, the diesel model looks better. It has 150 Newton-meters more torque, and the mileage is superior. A full tank can deliver up to 1,000 kilometers. You have to wait until 3,600 RPM for things to get going in the 320i, while you get the full shove in a 320d at 1,750 RPM. The only place it loses out is price, but only 7,000 ringgit more money, it's not bad at all. Now, getting a diesel car in Malaysia is a good option with the introduction of the Euro 2 diesel fuel, now sold in BH petrol stations. Sulfur content in the Euro 2 is significantly lower, while also added with a diesel performance package that includes anti-corrosion and foam inhibitor benefits. All in all, good news for owners of diesel-powered cars. Despite its negative heritage, the advantages of new diesel are seen by many. For example, in Europe, up to 50% of passenger cars now sold are diesel-based. So if you're in line for a new car, it's worth looking beyond the obvious and consider a diesel. Up next, it's BMW diesel power on the road and on track.